How have you felt like you've been able to separate yourself and get that momentum as we've gotten closer to primary day?
We always had the same plan going forward, was that we spend the year building our relationships, knowing that we were coming from a place of no name ID and not a political background. I knew I had to meet folks from all different backgrounds across the state. So that was our plan, was always to build up that momentum slowly and then come out with a bang at the end. And we knew that would take resources, and that would also take folks helping us across the state. So we've built up such a great group of folks that are knocking doors for us, helping us out, but also people that are helping to support the campaign. And that gave us the momentum to come out with our message strong at the end. And our message is resonating. I think that's the most important thing, is that being able to go up and advertise and talk about bringing back education, making sure our cities are safe, and making sure that Michigan treats businesses well. That's been resonating with folks. So we're really excited to see that change in the polls.
In all the polls, there's so much still undecided voters. I mean, does that worry you? I mean, does that excite you because there's so much left to see that it might just come down to them getting in there and seeing a name they recognize?
Everybody likes it when a sports game comes down to the last minute, right? Yeah. So I guess for me, I think it gives me the opportunity to keep going out there, make sure we finish strong, talking to people, and see if that message pushes us over, and that's what people really want in Michigan. So far, we're seeing that as that undecided gets smaller, it seems to be going into our bucket, so we're glad about that.
And now this is a race of outsiders. Everyone across the gamut isn't held much political office. And you've been tabbed as the establishment candidate, though, throughout this primary by your opponents. Are you comfortable with that tag?
I think that's interesting, because I've been fighting for conservative causes from an outside perspective from 2017, but nothing to do with the actual political world. So I think that that's an attempt to attack. And I don't think that we're at the point where attacks are working. It seems like that attack has not been effective. People don't necessarily want to see that bullying type of politics anymore. They want to see that you're out there telling people your message. And I think the people that are meeting me and get to know me realize that I'm an outsider. I'm coming into this because I want to have we, the people in government, making sure that we're taking care of everybody across the state. And so I think the establishment attack is a silly one, but I guess ultimately, if anybody who's elected is establishment, we're all applying for that job.
And now the winner of this primary is good chance the winner's going to have less than 30% because it is so stretched out. Unity is going to be key for anybody to beat Governor Whitmer in November. So do you feel comfortable being able to bring the party together? Do you feel that can happen? And if you weren't to win, would you fully endorse and back whoever did?
Yes, I think that's the most important thing, is that we all come together on August 3rd and we say, this is our nominee, this is who we're going to support, and make sure we bring all of our teams around that person, right? Because everybody has a different group of people that are supporting them. But I do think that my message is one that can unite the entire party and bring people together. But I think what's important is that we need to unite the entire party, but also we need to bring some of those independents over, well, all of the independents and some of those Democrats. So do we have a message that is able to be wide-ranging enough to bring the entire group to the Republican side to make sure that we can win in November? And I think that I have the winning message there.
Do you feel at any point during your campaign your message has shifted to be a wider net to try to collect those independents and fringe Democrats?
We've always gone out. I mean, we really haven't changed our messaging on our website. If you look at what our message has always been, it's always started at education, because as a mom of four, I felt that it's very important that we don't have this failing education system in the state of Michigan, that there's no wrong path for any child, no matter where you live. So we've always talked about education being very important. And then from there, talking about safe cities and making sure that people want to come to the state of Michigan, and ultimately businesses, making sure that we don't have Big Brother attacking business, that business feels like this is a state to be successful in. That's always been our message. We haven't had to deviate from that message, and I think that's probably for us the reason why our campaign will be the easiest to transition into the general, because we'll continue on with the same goals for the state.
And part of that transition, probably starting on August 3rd, once a winner is declared, or in the coming days after that, Governor Whitmer's campaign is going to start targeting that person. She's kind of stayed out targeting anybody, but after she has a target, she's going to go after it. Right. What's your plan that first few weeks after the primary to do that unity and kind of keep that momentum, because it has been such an aggressive primary?
Right. Well, we'll keep going out and campaigning. I mean, nothing changes outside of the fact that we'll be out there the same amount probably as much as we can, but we need to bring in the resources from as many people as we can to fight this machine that is the Democrats. And we know that Gretchen Whitmer's coming out of the gate with millions of dollars. We don't have a candidate that will come out of the gate with millions of dollars in their coffers. So we need to make sure that the person is going to be well received by the folks that want to help support the campaign, but also that the whole party is behind them. So I think that's going to be the focus, is just to continue to power forward with a strong campaign.
And now the whole party, I haven't seen, or I saw you've been asked about endorsing Matthew DePerno for AG, and you hadn't yet told people to wait. Can we read anything into that? I mean, or is
we've been extremely helpful to Matt, I would say, behind the scenes. So he knows I support him no matter what interview I'm in, no matter where I am speaking. I'm always out there saying, please make sure you vote for everybody that's on the Republican ticket come November. We need to make sure that we don't end up in there with half and half, because we know what that's been like in the past. I'm always very supportive of Matt. I've helped him with a lot of my folks behind the scenes as well, and you'll likely see us doing some events in the future together.
Okay, because I was about to say, you said whoever's on the ticket, and technically it's only been endorsed by the party, so after the primary, whoever the governor candidate is could have some say in making changes?
Well, we expect it to be Matt and Christina.
Okay, that'll work. And I was going to say, you're going to be pushing the entire ticket, but there's a chance that they don't win. Could you see yourself working with Attorney General Dana Ness, and how would that work, and how would you reach across someone who's been pretty aggressive towards Republicans?
Yeah, in my career, I've always had to work together with people who are, really on a different side from me, whether it's in sales, whether it's in business, whether it's a negotiation. I've always had to come to the table and sit down and say, we're going to talk this through. And I think that this is no different. We're just in a society where you assume that people can't connect, people can't talk. I mean, this is kind of, you go through a political race and people talk trash, for a lack of a better term, but at the end of the day, we all want what's best for the state. So I think we can all sit down and have some civil conversations, and we must do that to make sure that we make this the best possible state in the nation.
The civil conversations. One thing I wanted to ask that I've been interested in thoughts. It's been used against you. What are your thoughts on the word Rhino? We hear it used in the party. Anyone that doesn't disagree, that's their title. I mean, even Senate Majority Leader Shirkey has been called that, which shocked me. What are your thoughts on that, and is that productive?
I don't think that these attacks are productive right now. I think that we're trying to show unity, and to accuse someone of not being genuine in why they're running, if I see that as an attack if you don't have a way to show what you're really wanting to do yourself. So if you've watched our campaign has run a campaign that's promoting what our plan is, promoting what we want. And so you won't see me referring to people as rhinos or attacking people in that way. I just don't think that's very productive.
All right. Now, I also want to ask you, you brought two of your daughters with you. How do you feel that you being a woman, being a mother, could kind of offset kind of some of the angles that Governor Whitmer could use? We've already seen TV ads where her talking about being a mother and being a regular Michigander.
Yeah, I think that takes away one of her weapons. I mean, we've seen her use that, even though we see her with the strange rhetoric about women and girls and mothers that she's been going through, whether it's menstruating person or birthing parent, all of those strange things. In the past, in election cycles, we've seen her use her gender as a weapon against her opponents. So, oh, you're insulting me, you're putting me down. And I think that takes that away from her. So it's really going to be a matter of a battle of merits. This is what my plan is, this is what your plan is, this is my record, this is your record. How do they stack up against each other? And we give people an honest, even playing field of, these are the two candidates, you choose which one you think can better lead the state. And I think she's going to have a hard time this year going up against the record that she has and what she's done to the state, and her lack of ability to work with people. When you ask about sitting down with Dana Ness, that's the number one complaint of anyone in Lansing who's on the opposite side of Gretchen Whitmer. She won't sit down and talk to us. We have no access to the governor.
And then you kind of touched on it also there. There have been a lot of buzzwords and topics, abortion's a hot topic now. What are some things that aren't getting asked? You've done several debates, and sometimes it's the same questions over and over. What are some of the topics and issues that you want to focus on that you feel are not getting the attention that maybe everyone else is focusing on?
You know, we don't really talk about public safety. We don't talk about the fact that 3 of our cities are the most dangerous cities in America and why this has happened across the country. We're seeing violence and homicides rise, and that really, if you look, the connection seems to be this defund the police movement. As soon as that defund the police movement came into play, we started to see violence and we started to see police officers leaving their positions. I think it's really important that we talk about the stress that police officers are under and that our departments are under with the lack of police officers willing to be in the force. No matter where I go in the state, when I go into these buildings that have security, it's always retired police officers, and they tell me, we just feel like it was too unsafe. We didn't have any backing from our elected officials, or at least our top elected officials, and we didn't want to end up being ambushed. This is happening. I mean, we just saw this happen in Detroit. This is happening in cities across our state right now, is that our police officers are being ambushed. So what are the resources that we need? How do we come out in support of these departments? And how do we get creative about keeping police officers in the state of Michigan? I think it's really key. It's something we're working on. We've been talking to our police officers across the state about what they want, what they need, and what they think will recruit more people. And it's very important that we do that to get more people to come to the state.
All right. And then finally, I guess I'll just give you your closing statement. Why should all these undecided voters vote for you?
I think I'm a unique candidate in this field because of my manufacturing experience. So I come from a family steel foundry, worked there for many years. I understand what it is to be on the shop floor, but I also understand what it is to have the state regulating your business and when it can be overbearing and when it's necessary and what the state needs to do to make it easier for our job creators to work. But also, having moved into the media in the past 5 years of my life, I'm able to communicate my message in a unique way as well. And I've also been very heavily involved in what the policies have been of this last federal administration and this current administration and how those have impacted not only the country, but our state specifically. And as a mom, I'm a mom of 4 school-age girls, and so I'm walking alongside every other parent out there that's saying, gosh, education has really declined over the last several years, and how do we make sure that we are taking care of our students and that we have no wrong path for any child in the state of Michigan? So having 4 school-age daughters, I'm very passionate about that, and I want to work for the people.
All right, that'll work. Anything? That'll work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.